Hey guys, Davin here at brewbits.com. As usual, behind the camera we've got James. Say hello, James. If you're coming from our other video, then you would have already known that I am splitting this St. Peter's Cream Stout into 4 different stouts. And in this video, I'm concentrating on this stuff. And this is Honeycomb. And this is a small batch of Honeycomb I made earlier. And I love Honeycomb. So I did make quite a big batch, but I've been eating it. So there's not much left. So we're going to need to make another batch of Honeycomb and then we can add it to our beers. So let's get brewing. So to start off with, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by making it up pretty much to its usual recipe. So I've got myself a bucket, I've got my trial jar, hydrometer, I've got my sterilizer, I've got my spoon for stirring everything, I've got my thermometer, and I've got my siphon, and more importantly, because this is a double tin kit, we'll need a tin opener. Right, so first of all, I'm going to take these out of here because there's a couple of things in here we're going to want. We've got a sachet of yeast, and we've also got a sachet of Golding's hot powder. Well, that's gone because we're going off recipe. And then we've got the 2 tins of liquid malt extract. And in here, as you know, if you've done this before, they're thick and they are gloopy. So in my bowl over here in my sink, I'm going to pour off some really hot tap water and then let them sit for about 10 minutes whilst I sterilise everything. The tins have been sitting in the sink now for a good 10 minutes, and that will mean that the liquid malt extract inside the tin has become a little bit more runny, and that means it's a little bit easier to get out of the tin. Oh no! Let's go in the drawer to get a knife. Ooh, look how thick and black this is. It's like treacle. Oh, look at that. So whilst I was emptying the second can, I put the kettle on to boil so I could get 2 litres of boiling water. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to use this to clean our cans out. So a little bit into each can, and then be very careful but with your spoon. Come on in, give it a little bit of a stir, and then start working it up the sides as you turn the can. It is really hot, and the can does get even hotter because you're using boiling water, so just be a little bit careful. And then once you've got most of it out, because it's boiling water, over to me a second, James, take a tea towel, wrap it up so you can pick the can up without burning your fingers. Almost done, but I think there's still a fair bit left in there to go. So let's do the other one really quickly. And just do that a couple of times if needs be until you've got all your liquid malt extract out. Nice and clean they are now, look. There we go. And then the rest of the water goes in the bucket as well. And then we're going to give this a gentle stir so that we get all the liquid malt extract mixed in with the boiling water. Now that's all lovely and mixed in, because we're going slightly off recipe with making this into 4 different kits, you would normally now top this up to 20.5 litres. But because I'm going off recipe, and because of some of the ways I'm going to be playing around with the ingredients in the other recipes, I'm actually going to top this up just to 16 litres now. So it just takes a few moments with cold tap water. So now I've added the cold water, we need to give it a really good stir to mix in the water with the liquid malt extract down the bottom. Lovely, that's all mixed in. So the next step is to split this into 4 different batches. So here I've got one of my buckets. What else have I got? I've got my little tap on the end so I can stop my flow. I've got a bucket clip, which is going to go on the inside of my bucket. And I've got this little beauty, a jug, so I can measure out pretty much exactly 4 litres. So make sure that's in there nicely, clip that in, Have a quick little suck. And we get the 4 litres going. I've got my 4 batches now of the St. Peter's Cream Stout. So now we can turn this St. Peter's Cream Stout into a cinder Toffee Stout. You're going to need a few other bits and bobs. To make this stuff here, which is my last few bits of honeycomb, I need quite a lot more than that because I keep eating it. We are going to need some golden syrup, some bicarbonate of soda, and some sugar, and a few bits and bobs of equipment. So I'm going to need some scales, my spatula, saucepan, a whisk, a digital or a thermometer that is capable of going up to 150 degrees Celsius, because we're going to be putting it in really, really hot sugar, so your brewing thermometer won't be any good for this. And we're also going to need a little measuring spoon. Here I've got a tablespoon measuring spoon, and this is to measure out the golden syrup. Now, if I just simply poured golden syrup into there and tried to pour it out again, it sticks like anything. So my little tip is that I've got a little bottle of oil here, tiniest little bit of oil in the bottom, and you give it a good old work around, like so, like that. And that, now when we pour the golden syrup in, means the golden syrup's going to come out a lot easier and not stick to the spoon. So the first thing we're going to need, oh yeah, I forgot, we need a set of scales. Haha. Because I need to measure 80 grams, that's 80, of sugar. And I'm just using normal sugar here. You can use caster sugar if you want. 79, 81, okay, close enough. And now 2 tablespoons of golden syrup. I could just eat this on its own. One. And see, it's pretty much all out of there. If I left that a little bit longer, it'd all go. But I'll just give an extra little squirt. 2. Look, see how clean that is. Right, over we go to the hob, and we're going to put the sugar and golden syrup mixture onto a medium to high heat, and it's going to gradually start melting, and it's going to be quite thick at first, but trust me, it does get easier. Just keep it on a nice gentle low heat and keep it going, keep it moving, I mean. So it starts to come together, but there's still going to be a bit of time on that. So whilst I'm over here, I'm going to get my bicarbonate of soda ready. And so I'm going to need a teaspoon of bicarbonate of soda. And here I've got half a teaspoon, and half a teaspoon make 1 teaspoon. But you can see there's a few lumps in there. So I'm just going to get my finger in and make sure all those lumps are gone. So it makes life a little bit easier when we pour it into the sugar mixture in a moment. Right, so that's starting to warm up and it's starting to bubble a little bit. So I've got it a little bit too warm. You can see there's still little crystals of sugar in there. We want to get all those little crystals of sugar dissolved before we really bring it up to temperature. Over here though, I have got a small little baking tray, and I've got some parchment, greaseproof paper if you will. And this is so, makes life a little bit easier so it doesn't stick. So this is what I like to do. I like to take my bit of parchment, screw it up slightly, and then pop it in the pan. Okay, we have got the size right. So what we now need to do is we need to put a little tiny bit of oil on it, just to make sure that the honeycomb mixture isn't going to stick. So a little bit more, and we need to work it all around. A little goes a long way. And that goes back into the pan. Fold up your edges. And that, fold down the edges there. And that is now going to be ready to receive our sugar mixture in a moment when that's ready. So, let's give this a nice little stir. Lovely. And I'm going to get my thermometer now, which always goes to Fahrenheit first of all for some strange reason. Now you need to be really, really, really careful here because this sugar is stupidly hot. And I'm trying to carefully tilt the pan to one side so I can get a good figure. And it's nowhere near it yet. But as you can see, it's over 100 degrees C. So if you get this on your skin, it's gonna burn. But we're not there quite yet. So a little bit longer on the heat to get it to 150 degrees. So it's really starting to change color now. It's coming nice and golden, a little bit more ambery. So you can also smell it happening as well. So I'm going to take a temperature reading now. Come on. So 150 degrees is the crucial temperature we need to get to, and we're over that. So that's great. If you go below that, you don't tend to get as good of a honeycomb. So right now, this is the fun part. I'm going to swap instruments a second. I'm going to swap to my whisk, and here in goes the bicarbonate of soda. You need to work quite quickly and get this whisked all the way in, all the way around, being really, really, really careful not to get any on you. Get that going. Lovely. Leave that down there, and then straight in. Oh, I'm trying to do it wrong-handed as well. Straight in the pan with it. Hee hee. Now, don't, in whatever circumstances right now, be tempted to go and lick that. That would be so bad for your tongue. That's so unbelievably hot. I love how we get into such a mess with this. But that is now our honeycomb all done. So you can see how wobbly it is at the moment. It's going to take a while to set. Take about an hour to set and cool. So I'm going to put this now somewhere to cool for an hour. Now you might think your pan and spatula and everything else is absolutely ruined. Look at it, look, solid. It's not, don't worry. Literally pop it in the sink and pour on some hot water and just leave it, and you'll be surprised it'll all just dissolve and disappear. The honeycomb is lovely, it's already breaking up. It's a little bit sticky, but that's cool. So I'm going to pop it into a bowl here. And because we oiled it, look at it. It peels off so easily. There we go. That's gone. So now I'm going to take my rolling pin or something hard and just get in and crunch it right up. Lovely, nice and crunched up. Ooh, a little bit on the end of the rolling pin, but hey-ho. Right, so now I'm going to take, back to me a second, James, this little baby. This is a blowtorch, and we're going to make it into cinder toffee by just scorching it a little bit. Not a lot, but just enough to give that little bit of bitter smokiness to it. Ooh. Doesn't need much at all. But a few burnt black bits, that's not going to hurt. It's going into a really dark stout, so you're not really going to taste much of that anyway. Right, that's probably enough, but if you want to do a bit more, you can. It's up to you how much you want to scorch this. Cool, that's enough for me. So this, now, we still need to add a litre of water to this batch of stout. So I could either pour that straight in there, which is going to be a little bit difficult to dissolve. So I'm going to put my litre of water onto my toasted honeycomb. So I'm going to put the kettle on and I'm going to get a litre of water. So here's my litre of boiling water, and I've also got a couple of other extra ingredients here. I've got 50 grams of cocoa powder so that we can add that extra level to this honeycomb. Effectively, we're making a crunchy bar in a beer. And then we've also got some lactose as well, just to help give it that extra little bit of sweetness, because most of the sweetness from this will actually be eaten by the yeast. So in that goes, that's going to dissolve really quickly. And that little bit of toastiness that we did, it's quite surprising how dark that's turned that cinder toffee. Oh, the smell is great. So in now goes lactose, and this is just a sugar that the yeast can't eat. It comes from milk. And it's also going to add some extra body to the beer and a little bit of sweetness. And then the cocoa powder as well. And get that all mixed in. Oh, it smells like a crunchy bar, it really does. Great, now the aromas are absolutely fantastic, but this is a little bit too hot at the moment to pour into there, so I'm going to let this cool down for about an hour. Lovely, now it's cooled down a lot. We're ready to pour it in. So, in it goes. Like that. And we need to give it a good stir, like so. Get it all mixed in. Now we can't take a reading with our hydrometer because we've put non-fermentable sugars like lactose in. Well, we can take a reading, but it won't give us a true reading. So what we need to do is, we know that the specific gravity of this is 1.046, and we've also added an extra 120 grams of sugar in the way of golden syrup and sugar. So from that, we'll be able to work out the ABV once it's finished fermenting. And the packet of yeast we took out of the St. Peter's kit, I popped into a dish, and there was enough for 4 half teaspoons, which is going to be perfect for this. So that is the rest now that's going to go for the last batch. And this, we're just going to pop the yeast in like that, give it a gentle stir, get it mixed in. And now, lid goes on, and this goes into my warm place for about a week. My St. Peter's Cream Stout kit that I've added the blowtorched honeycomb and the cocoa powder to has been sat in my warm cupboard now for the last 8 days. And over those 8 days, we've seen a lot of foam coming up. A lot of the cocoa powder has bubbled right up to the top, but it's settled right down now. But of course, because of all the extra bits I've added to this, if I'd taken a hydrometer reading, it'd be a little bit false. So what I did is I used the control of the St. Peter's Cream Stout that we did, and I took a hydrometer reading of that, and that came out at 1.016, and it sat there for a few days. So I know, I'm pretty sure, because all the activity in this one settled down as well, we're ready to move on. So down here, I have got a sterilised bucket, I have got a siphon, and on the end of the siphon I've got a sediment trap. And I've also got this little thing, and this is a hop sock, sediment sock, whatever you want to call it. And I literally pop that over there, and this is going to help stop any bits and bobs getting through. So it's going to kind of filter it slightly for us. Okay, so this goes down into my stout, through the foam at the top, a good suck on, and get it flowing down through. Now, if you don't want to suck on it, you can of course use an auto siphon with a quick pump, 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 and it's going to take a few moments to siphon down through. I can tell you the aromas that are coming out are fantastic already. I'm going to try and keep it at the top and gradually go down with the stout as it drops down, and as we get lower and lower, I'll start tilting the bucket so that we can get as much stout out of this bucket as possible. as I'm going to be bottling the Cinder Toffee Stout, I'm going to want a little bit of fizz in my bottles. So I've got a little bit of brewing sugar here. And just to make it easier to get it into the Cinder Toffee Stout, here I've just got a little bit of boiling water. You really don't need very much at all. And just give it a stir until it's all dissolved. Lovely. Now that's dissolved in, really gently just pop that in there like so. And then with my sterilised spoon, just give it a really gentle stir just to mix it all in. Got all my bottles ready, and I've got my siphon again, but I don't need the sediment trap on there now, so that can pop off. But I am going to use my bucket clip and get that on. That's about there. That will pop on. So then that end can go in the bucket and into the Cinder Toffee Stout. And then this end, I'm going to give a good suck on. Get to about there. And this with my bottling wand. So that's on ready. And all I need to do now is take one of my bottles. Down we go. And let it fill up. Great, well that's my Cinder Toffee Stout bottled, so all I need to do now is put this back into my warm place for about 5 to 7 days so that the secondary fermentation can happen inside the bottle, and then pop them somewhere cool for them to bottle condition. Of course I need to make a pretty label for them, but for now, so I can differentiate everything between them, I'm going to use a pink little marker and just put a pink little dot on them until I've made the labels. And so I don't mix them up, and so I know that this is going to be my Cinder Toffee Stout. So it's going to be interesting to find out what's going to happen to this when we have a proper taste test. I'll do that once we've had it in the bottle conditioning for a bit. Then I'll put it into my garage for probably a good month to allow everything all the flavours to develop. And then we'll pop one in the fridge, pop it open, we'll do a taste test video. So remember to like and subscribe so that you get a notification when we do that taste test. And down in the comments below, if you've got any questions, if you've decided to make this, if you've done this on a bigger batch, if you've made the proper kind of clone of New Bristol Brewery's Cinder Toffee Stout, and you've done something different, then let me know. And let me know how yours has turned out. But for now, nice and easy. This goes back into my warm place for about 5 to 7 days, then somewhere nice and cool for about a month, and then we'll pop one open and enjoy a lovely Cinder Toffee Stout. I can tell you the aromas when we were bottling were absolutely fantastic. So fingers crossed, this is going to be a good one. But for now, have fun, happy brewing, and at least you know how to make your own honeycomb. Bye.